everyone, so I wanted to talk about my empties. I don't have many, and this sort of surprised me because I'm always seeing empties videos from people who have a ton of stuff finished, people who are on no buys or low buys and finishing so much stuff, and I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why haven't I been able to finish so much stuff? One of the most frequently asked questions I get is, how much have you finished while doing your no-buy? You must have finished so much stuff. You must have used up so much stuff because you weren't purchasing new things. That seems to not be true for me. I have used up a handful of things over the last 3 months or so. I did a empties right before I moved, the end of December. So this is the stuff that I've accumulated since then, and we're now into March. So I did some thinking, and it's because I've been using products so incredibly sparingly. I have been doing the opposite of a project pan, and I've been trying to stretch the life of products, and I've been trying to make things last as long as possible. I've definitely stopped using some products, or I just use very little of it. I don't apply anywhere near the amount of makeup that I used to, which is why I just don't have a whole lot of products. I've also been using a lot of samples, just to kind of switch things up a little bit, to make things a little bit more interesting for me. And I don't have a whole lot of samples either, so I'm actually going to do a quick little separate video talking about my samples and hashtag 365 days of samples following this. But I thought that I would just go through some of the sample size products that I finished and the full size products I finished, and just sort of quickly go through things. The Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion, so I did cut it in half and squeezed out every last tiny little bit that I possibly could have from this eyeshadow primer. My favorite eyeshadow primer, the only thing that works for me for keeping my eyeshadow on my eyelids. I've tried so many things, it's the only thing that works for me. And I got to a point where I was using this so sparingly because I wanted to try and make it last as long as possible. I do fortunately have another one that was sent to me by a wonderful friend, so I'm very grateful for that, because I probably wouldn't be able to have that otherwise. But it's good to finish things sometimes, but also, like, I feel sometimes people who are on no buys or like replacement only no buys, who don't have any financial restrictions or limitations, will sometimes use things up faster, because that means they get to bring new things in. And that's definitely not something that I'm doing, and it's not something that I'm able to do anyway, which is why I'm extra cautious. For some people who might be trying to restrict the amount of product they have coming in, it's not because they are limited financially. They feel like they have too many products, but then if they get rid of a couple of, foundations, they can bring a couple of new ones in, and they don't really think anything of it except for space. Whereas for me, money is the big concern, and I just can't turn around and buy new products. I have a lot of like little sample size things I finished up. I have from Kiehl's the Glow Formula Skin Hydrator. This is a very like sparkly, sheeny sort of moisturizer. It's not as glowy as the MAC Strobe Cream, and this was a more darker, sort of like peachy golden color. And it looked pretty good on my skin. I definitely had to like really make sure I worked it in though, otherwise it would be a little streaky because I'm so fair. But it was a good sort of glowy moisturizer, but I don't think anything will come close to Strobe Cream for me. I used this deluxe sample size of the Good Jeans from Sunday Riley, and I have to say I actually liked it. I know. I have crapped all over Sunday Riley for the longest time, and then I just decided to use this, and it helped clear up a lot of the scarring I had on my chin from breakouts, because a couple of months ago I had some of the worst breakouts I've ever ever had. And I had a lot of scarring because I'm also a picker. So I had like a lot of scarring around here, and that seemed to clear it up within a couple of days. It was remarkable. The only thing different I had used was this product. I can't say for sure what happened, but I can't imagine it was anything else, since nothing else in my skincare routine changed, just this, which I applied a little bit at nighttime, and every time I woke up, my skin looked better. And then I looked at the price of this and I was like, no. But also my skin is like somewhat okay right now, so I'm gonna remember that product. It's not something I can realistically afford, but maybe I can get another sample. That'd be great, just to have on hand. I can't believe I like it, but hey, you know, skin needs, skin preferences. I've used other Sunday Riley samples before, and it had the opposite effect for me. You know, I would completely break out, and this seemed to really help clear up my skin. I had this fun little face mask, sheet mask. I've never been a huge fan of sheet masks. They're kind of fun, but I've never ever used one that I loved. You know, there was never one that I've come across that has done anything good for my skin. I got a set of them from a store that was closing, God, like must have been 2 years ago at this point. And this particular one is the Pearl Illuminating Face Sheet Mask. So you put it on for 15 minutes and let it sit, and it was okay. I can't say it was like super illuminating or anything, but I like face masks more because it forces me to relax. Like sheet masks just force me to sit down, be calm, deep breaths. It's a good experience for me to get into every now and then, and it's been a way to sort of like treat myself because I can't buy new products to treat myself with. I don't have the ability to do so, so I've been making do with what I have, and that was a great product. And I think I might have one left maybe. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not a big sheet mask person, but I do like face masks in general, and it's something that I wish I could always have on hand, even if they aren't incredibly effective, just to like do it like once a week, just to like have that one moment. I have two products from Caudalie. I have the Venosource Moisturizing Sorbet and the Firming Serum. Neither one of these are very remarkable, and honestly, I think I used them like 2 weeks ago and I remember nothing about either one of them. Sometimes I use samples and I instantly love it, and I love the effect of my skin, and it's very memorable. I remember, you know, what I liked about using it. This was just really not very special, but something different to sort of like shake up my routine a little bit. I'm just going through all these samples first, and then I have a couple of other products. But I have Dream Skin from Dior. This is a moisturizer. It's a global age-defying skincare, perfect skin creator. I like this. I tend to like Dior skincare, except for the stuff that is highly fragranced. I noticed a tiny bit of a scent with that, but nothing that was major or that lingered too long, unlike some of the luxury, like higher end skincare that's just very heavily fragranced and really irritates me. I think part of it too for me though is definitely the appeal of just Dior. Like I'm definitely swayed by the name in that case because Dior is one of my favorite fashion brands, so I think I feel like there's more of an effect with the Dior skincare and Dior makeup than there probably actually is. From Lancome, I used the Smoothing and Plumping Pearly Lotion, which I have used before in various sample packaging forms. Like I've used deluxe sizes of this as well, and I really like this. This does exactly what it says that it does. It smooths and plumps my skin, and every time I get a sample of that, I really enjoy using it because I feel like it just sort of fills things in my face, and I just, you know, I've been struggling a little bit with sort of like the effects of aging on my face, so anything I can do that sort of hides that a little bit is a good thing. I used a sample of a Jouer foundation. This is the Essential High Coverage Creme Foundation with hyaluronic acid. This is a matte foundation, not for me. I didn't have a good color match in like the foundation set that I had, but I was just trying to try something different. And I believe I ended up mixing that with a liquid highlighter as well, if I'm remembering correctly, just to give it a little bit more luminosity and so that it's not so flat on my skin where my skin has been so dry. But you know, kind of fun to try new things, right? And if I can't invest in large product, at least I can try some of these samples. The only downside is like if you really fall in love with something. I used two things from First Aid Beauty. the Facial Radiance Intensive Peel, and also the Skin Rescue Deep Cleanser with Red Clay. Some of these are older samples, and I liked both of these. The Facial Radiance Intensive Peels seemed to work really well with my skin, and it was probably because I'd never used it before, and sometimes I feel like my skin is sort of like surprised by some of these peels and products that I use like one time and it's like, this is magnificent, but then there's been times where I've used it repeatedly and then it doesn't work for me. My skin likes change. That's why I like throwing in these products sometimes. When I use the same products day in and day out, eventually it stops. But then if I throw in a weird thing here or there and then still continue with my regular skincare, that's what tends to work the best for me. And the cleanser was pretty good too. It's always nice to throw in some different cleanser. I feel like my skin likes that as well. The Dr. Andrew Wheel for Origins, the Mega Mushroom Skin Relief Soothing Treatment Lotion was really nice and very calming on my skin. I applied it on a day that my skin was particularly red, not for any real reason. I think it was probably just a combination of the weather and stress, and I applied it all over my face and my skin was very smooth and just very calmed, so I liked that a lot. I think I have another sample of that, so I'm looking forward to using that. And then I really liked this. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Multi Miracle Glow. So it can be used as a cleanser, a mask, and a balm. I used it as a cleanser and I really liked it as a cleanser. I felt like it just completely cleaned my skin all over, everything, every bit of like mascara residue, lash glue residue, all the bits that were on my face was just completely clean and my skin just felt so incredibly soft. And I didn't have to use any other products to achieve that effect. It was just that one thing. Some of the Charlotte Tilbury skincare stuff I've used has been incredible and just mind-blowing. I have a couple of brow products I finished. I had a Elle brow pencil that I finished, so one more brow thing that is done. I'm running a little low on brow stuff, I will say. I'm hoping I still have a couple things in my bigger sample box to go through. This was actually in my makeup basket roulette, but I decided to throw it in here now just because I don't want to hang on to it any longer. This is the Brow Stylist from L'Oreal Paris, the Volumizing Brow Mascara. So this had very little left in it when I had pulled it for my makeup basket roulette, so I used it a couple of times and there's just nothing there anymore. This is also a lighter color that I had bought when I had dyed my hair lighter, because my natural hair is in a weird state right now for many reasons, but also I had gone blonde over the summer and I needed lighter brow gel and I don't anymore, and that is gone. I have from Pixi the Vitamin C Tonic. This is a toner. Really liked this. Felt like it really treated my skin very well. It wasn't incredible. I won't say it did anything crazy spectacular to my skin. I do have the Glow Tonic, which I've been using instead of this one, and I think I'll probably just stick with that one. But I do like vitamin C products, and I feel like in general they help with sort of the vibrancy of my skin, which is often missing. And the Laneige Water Sleeping Mask, I did a little deluxe size sample, and this is completely cleaned right out. And I do have a full size as well that I had got from Influencer, I think, and I will continue to use that. I kind of rotate around using different things at nighttime, and I love the Laneige Water Sleeping Mask because it's very soothing and it's very hydrating, and I feel like if I get the right amount of product on, then I wake up to very, very fresh, hydrated skin. But I do feel like I need to have enough on, but not too much. Like there's that fine line with that product that if I just put a little bit on, it does absolutely nothing. But if I put too much on, then it doesn't seem to work very well, and then I get stuck to like pillows and everything else. So there's that fine line with that product, but it's wonderful. And the last thing I have here is a primer. This I did not cut open. This is from Rimmel. It's the Lasting Finish Skin Perfecting Primer, and I'm pretty sure this was making me break out. I did finish as much of it as I possibly could, but I did start to notice some issues with my skin, a little bit of like bumps around my chin area, which I have been noticing with some of the makeup products I've been using that I feel like might be expired. That is the real huge downside about this, and something that I'm really weighing like the cost benefit of is, do I continue to use a product that is causing a little bit of harm, but I can't afford to buy new things? So, you know, like I'm using a foundation, I'm trying to finish up a foundation that seems to cause a couple of breakouts on my skin, like on my chin area. Again, it always seems to be this when I have some sort of issue. If I heavily prime my skin and I put the foundation on top of it, I have that barrier there, it seemed to be fine. But when I either skip primer or go light on the primer, that's when I get the issues with my skin. So it's one of those things where I'm like, do I continue to use this foundation even though it causes me these problems? Because then I end up having to use more foundation to cover up the problems, or concealer, and I have to use extra products. But yet I don't want to skip things entirely. And every now and then, sometimes I just end up with like concealer instead of foundation because I'm just trying to stretch the life of everything, like I said. So like there's products that I probably would have finished probably 3 or 4 times over by now if I was using it the way I've used products before, with sort of no concern about being able to afford a replacement. And that's something that's on my mind all the time, is about, can I actually afford this? You know, if I finish this up, will I be able to replace it? And right now the answer is no, all around. So it's definitely causing me to use a lot less product, which is why I'm gonna have a lot less empties. But I feel like the way I also use things is that I will use something to a point, and then I start using something else, and then I use something else, as long as I have stuff like that. Let's just use like shampoo, for example. Like I will use a bottle of shampoo until I probably have like 3 uses left, and then I put it aside, and then I use another one until I have 3 uses left, and then I use another one, and then I'll circle back, and then all of a sudden I'll have like 3 shampoos that are finished at the exact same time. That's how I tend to use products. So I'm sure it's going to be like nothing, 3 finished foundations, just because of the way that I use products. And that's kind of been true for me in the past as well. If you've watched any of my previous Empties videos, where I used to have like a ton of product, but like some months you'd have like 4 shower gels, and then like there wouldn't be shower gels for like 3 or 4 months, and then there'd be 4 shower gels, just because of the way that I use things. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit because I've had questions from people about Empties and what it's like on a no-buy. And for me, it's definitely a different experience, I think, than some other people who may be doing the no-buy, low-buy beauty budget thing. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. I will do my best to get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I hope we get a chance to chat soon. Bye for now.